We are here outside the Instance Hall, as you say, where the meeting has taken place, and something good happening up there, because we can hear a lot of cheering and a lot of clapping. So what's been happening? We've had the chairman's address. That's, of course, Pepe Picardo, former government minister. The election of executive committee members. We believe there were 15 candidates for 6 places, and executive motions. The election of the party leader, I'm not quite sure whether it's taken place yet, and the party leader's address, which I think hasn't taken place because we've actually stolen the party leader for a while. Mr. Picardo, good evening.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here with you outside the Instance Hall as we hold once again a full to the rafters GSLP AGM.
And tell me what's been happening up there.
Well, we've had 15 people hustling for a vote for the 6 places in the executive committee. More people applying for membership of the executive than I've ever seen. So there's a lot of enthusiasm in wanting to form part of the decision-making organ of the party. The vote has happened. The vote is now being counted by our vibrant youth section. We've now had the first motion on sovereignty and red lines and the negotiation of the treaty, drafted by Joe Bossano, the most senior and founding member of the party, presented by the leader of the Young Socialists, the GSLY, Sam Rache, and supported by John Cortes, one of the long-standing ministers of the GSLP in the 4 governments of the GSLP Liberals that I've led. We've just now heard a motion presented by Pepe Picardo on housing. He's, as we know, the most successful housing minister in the history of Gibraltar and the chairman of the party. It's now being seconded by Pat Orfila. The motion on sovereignty passed unanimously. I hope to get back to vote also on this motion, which is before the AGM, now.
Out of curiosity, what happens to motions that you've passed in previous meetings, like, for example, payment of scholarship awards?
So those motions become party policy, and you'll see that they are reflected, every single one of them, in the manifestos that we present at general elections. They become the policy of the party, they go into the manifesto, and as a result of that, they become, if we win the election, the policy of the government, or the way that we pursue accountability of the opposition should we lose an election and become the opposition.
What would you say are the party's priorities right now?
Well, fundamentally, there are 2 core issues which always will be there alongside health and employment. And that is clearly, in the context of the moment in which we're living, the treaty and the successful negotiation of a safe and secure treaty, which makes absolutely no concessions on sovereignty, respects the party's red lines, which are Gibraltar's red lines on issues of sovereignty, and delivers that unity in terms of people and goods in the context of the discussion that we're having. And the other key priority, you've asked me for 2, housing. Finally getting rid of the housing waiting list, finally breaking the back of not just the housing waiting list, any housing problem in Gibraltar, putting Gibraltar ahead of where the GSLP left it in 1996. And I hope that's what we're going to be able to deliver on with the motions that we are dealing with here, the way that we're running the administration, and hopefully that's why people will want to continue forming part of this decision-making body of the party, which is the executive that we're choosing today, and will want the party to continue in government going forward.
Chief Minister, I was going to ask about the continuing in government going forward, but personally, in yourself, if you had had a deal, would you be here today? Would you be here uncontested? Would you be looking at perhaps seeing who your successor would be?
No, I gave my word to the people of Gibraltar that when I stood for election, really as the party's candidate, because I was the leader of the party, for the job of Chief Minister, I would be there to deliver for the lifetime of this Parliament. It's my job to do that, to keep my word to the public, and to do in that time 2 key things. Deliver the negotiation of the treaty, the implementation of the treaty, and the settling of the treaty, or the no negotiated outcome alternative, if we cannot reach the terms that we think are good terms for Gibraltar, and set in train and deliver the new housing that we need to deliver in order to do what I said in the context of the 2 priorities that I've set out. I'm going to do that. That is my job. That's what I go to the office every day to achieve. Everything else that I have to do as well, but those are the key priorities that I am delivering against.
Okay, Chief Minister, I think we'll let you get back to that meeting tonight.
As party leader, not as Chief Minister.
Sorry, as party leader, but you're Chief Minister as well.
As well. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Well, that's it. The meeting continues up there. As we say, the Chief Minister, I was going to say, the party leader, the GSLP leader, Fabian Picardo, quite difficult to change hats when we're talking about him. But he's going up, he's going to deliver his address, and as I say, lots of clapping and lots of cheering coming up from Lindsay's Hall.